It was an offensive explosion. An offensive explosion at the Rock tonight. Oh, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And the New Jersey Devils, fresh off a victory the other night, looking to go back-to-back, taking on the Panthers at the Rock, and the New Jersey Devils beat down the Panthers and pretty much end their very slim playoff hopes, beating them by a score of 5-1. And it was great to see. I mean, obviously, too little too late for this team, barring them kind of going on a historic run. But we get to the game. First period, Devils were all over the Panthers. The Panthers just looked terrible, and Bobrovsky kept them in there early. Devils had a bunch of good chances. And then finally, our man Grits breaks through at 12-10, getting his 10th of the season, assisted by Connor Brown, gives the Devils the 1-0 lead. Love to see Grits firing it. He has a great shot. Hopefully he just kind of continues to, morph into like a shoot first kind of guy. A lot of times, a lot of these guys, we look at the extra pass and all these things. Grits just keep firing it on net. Beautiful shot. He picks up his 10th. Congratulations to Grits there. 1-0 Devils. And then we got into some penalty trouble. Obviously, there was that hit on Jack from behind. A little dirty. I don't know if it was as dirty as many people were making it out to be. A lot of those plays happen so quickly. It's, it is what it is. But Dilly, looking to rough people up, gets a double minor. And the Devils end up shorthanded, and Lundell scores on the ensuing power play. Complete bogus stuff from the refs. I thought the refs were shit all night long. But what a soft game this NHL has become. But after the power play that they should have never had, Panthers tied up at 1. That is how the first period would end. Oh, bear with me 1 second here. Yeah, I thought that was totally nonsense. And then Dilly got the 2 penalties on the other sequence. I think he had 4 minors in the first period. What a joke. We get to the second. Peanut butter and jelly entering the zone. Jack and Bratter. Shot misses the net. Rebound comes out, and Dougie buries it. Dougie Hamilton, his 9th of the season, assisted by Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. Regains the lead for the Devils, puts him up 2-1. Dougie's 9th of the season at 135. You love to see it. A guy that many people think could potentially be, amongst those on the trading block. It's been the topic of conversation for a few months now. Leading up to this deadline on Friday, I think there's a good chance he gets dealt. I think it'd be foolish not to trade him, assuming he's not part of the long-term plans for the team. You'd definitely get more for him now than you would in the offseason. So I don't know why we would hang on to him to just trade him in the summer, but we've seen baffling moves from this team before. But Dougie puts him up 2-1. And then my man Cody Glass, another guy that people are speculating on. Cody Glass at 8-13, his 14th of the season. Love to see it from Cody Glass, assisted by Haminaho, and Dougie picking up his 2nd point of the game. Gives the Devils the 3-1 lead after 2. Looked like a solid game for the Devils through 2. It was like, where was this team for large stretches of the season? But we go to the third, not a ton. And then with the empty net, Dawson Mercer gets his 14th of the season. And then Shimo Nemetz gets in on the party. His 9th of the season on the empty net. Devils win 5-1. Great game for the Devils. And like you said, the Panthers are pretty much, win or lose, we booze, guys. Cheers. How can I forget? Win or lose, we booze. Back-to-back games where we're sipping on victory drinks. A lot of you don't want to be drinking victory drinks and you want to be tanking. I don't want to tank ever, but, yeah. Cheers to all of you. I'm back on the surf side. We got the black cherry lemonade here. But cheers to all of you. Win or lose, we booze. Back-to-back victory drinks. Oh, it's been so. How long has it been since back-to-back victory drinks? It's been quite a while. Get to the game stats. Panthers 21 shots on goal. Devils 33. Devils absolutely owning the Panthers in the faceoff circle. 66.1% for the Devils to 33.9% for the Panthers. Panthers go 0 for 3 on the power play. Devils go 0 for 2. Panthers 33 hits. Devils with 17. Would like to see more hits. They almost doubled us up there. Panthers 9 block shots. Devils with 10 block shots. Panthers 14 giveaways. Devils 13 giveaways. Panthers 4 takeaways. Devils 6 takeaways. And we get to the player stats. Cody Glass with a goal, 2 shots, a block, and a hit. Nico Hischier, 2 shots, a block, 2 hits. Connor Brown with 2 assists and a block. Timo Meier, 2 shots, 3 hits. What else do we got here? Jesper Bratt with an assist, 4 shots, a block. Grits with a goal, 3 shots. Jack Hughes with 2 assists. Dawson Mercer an assist, 3 shots and a hit. Dilly, a million penalties, a block and a hit, a +3 on the evening. Dougie Hamilton, a goal and an assist for 2 points. And Dougie, ever since that scratching, has really responded. I mean, wow. He could definitely help a lot of teams, in my opinion. And I think it'd be foolish for the Devils to wait, honestly. 3 shots for Dougie and a hit. Shimo Nemitz, a goal, 2 shots. Brett Pesce, 2 shots, 3 blocks. Luke Hughes with 3 shots. Siegs, 2 shots, a block. And Markey, 20 saves on 21 shots for a .952 save percentage. Oh, and if you haven't realized, or if you haven't seen, I got it. American Swagger. The gold medal has come home. American Swagger. Mike Sullivan's motto. And then on the back, I gotta show the. Look at this. Whatever it takes. The message from Billy Guerin, whatever it takes. American Swagger apparel available on the site. Link pinned in the chat. T-shirts and hoodies available. Show your American pride. But we get to the comments here. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Looks like there's a lot of comments coming in. Shout out to everybody for coming out. The crowd, or crowds, I should say, are starting to get thinner as people start checking out on a team that is not making the playoffs. People just tune out and start turning their attention towards baseball or whatever else, other hobbies or things that are of interest to them that do not cause them pain every single season like this Devils club does. All right, we're too far back here. Let me see. Michael Timo says 2 wins in a row. Woo! It doesn't happen too often. Soak it in. Snow wants the tank, so he says, now we're going to win games, mess up our lottery pick. I mean, that was always, like you said, the mushy middle. It always seemed like the inevitable kind of outcome for the Devils, in my opinion. David Chimes, only good D in the third. Gave them too many extended ozone shifts. The first 40. Markey was special this game, but yeah, the final period. Masterpiece. Even those extended ozone shifts, there wasn't anything dangerous. It was all perimeter. Lightning says, we just need some consistency. Well, I don't know. 2 in a row. Snow says, too little, too late. Completely agree. I mean, imagine if they did somehow just rip off like 15 of the next 17 or something. I mean, it would be crazy, but it's not very likely. Ron says, I love this version of the Devils. Anytime you get a 5-goal outing from this group with 5 different goal scorers, you'd love to see it. Snow, and they control play like this and don't play to win 2-1 games. Ron says, super happy with Dougie tonight, and I'm his biggest hater. Also, Markey seems like he's finally having fun again. It sucks for Markey that, another season down the drain. A lot of people are going to bash the goaltending and have been, and Markey obviously has had a terrible season, but like I said, I think it was last night, it's hard for me to get that mad about bad goaltending when we consistently can't score goals. It's almost irrelevant at that point. David Chimes says 19-2 stretch run may get us into the playoffs. Too bad most teams are better than Florida and St. Louis. I mean, come on, David. We know this is not going to happen. It's nice to dream. Ron says, I'm just going to believe they can make it until it's mathematically impossible. Season's more fun that way. No, I totally get it. I'm always going to watch and hope for the improbable or the impossible. But logic and common sense prevails for me, and I had come to terms with the fact that this team was not going to make the playoffs a while ago, unfortunately. David, I care what helps the Sharks more now when other games affect both my favorite teams. I'm rooting for the Sharks as well. There'll be some other teams I'll have rooting interest for come the playoffs, obviously, as our boys will not be in it. But a Smooth says, at the Rock, but I didn't steal food. What's going on, Vecna Fitzgerald? Was a good game for sure. Jeremy Proper, I haven't seen the Panthers look that tired and out of it in a long time. I mean, listen, the Panthers have some hard mileage on them the past few years, obviously. Going to the Cup Finals 3 years in a row, having a ton of guys in the Olympics. Like, these guys must be dog tired. And I think the regular, or I guess not regular, for them it'd be a super long off season with no playoffs, will help them kind of heal and recuperate for next season. And I expect them to be back in the mix and a very good team for the 26-27 season. And I'm hoping that can happen for the New Jersey Devils as well. There's obviously a ton of question marks surrounding the Devils heading into next season. I do expect there to be a good amount of changes, whether there are any, big pieces are moved out or not. Like, I think a lot of the bottom six in defense could look different for next year. Hopefully with a full season of a healthy Jack or a mostly healthy Jack, this team could get back to the team that they looked like early on this season during the 8-game heater. It's unfortunate where we are now. It sucks. I am heartbroken and all of that, but the Team USA gold, it softened the blow a little bit. It'll never fully, nothing can ever be fully glossed over with a season like this. Like, it's absolutely devastating, honestly, given what I think many of us expected this team to do and where they are now. It absolutely sucks, but Team USA is a little boost. And the fact that Jack was the golden goal scorer, it helps a little bit. Bobby, what's going on? Thank you for the super. What's up, Ace? Solid win. I was stunned when I heard this was the first time since the second week we've scored 5 goals. Embarrassing. Also, I'm over Brat. Can package him for someone like Boldy or Pasta. Also, Luke looks good. Yeah, we haven't scored 5 goals in forever. Obviously, there's a little bit of an asterisk there, in my opinion, because 2 of them are on the empty net. But 5 goals are 5 goals. Brat, horrible season for Bratter, unfortunately. A lot of people think that he kind of was injured or compromised after Ovechkin trucked him months ago. I don't know if there's any validity to that, or if it's something completely random, or if it's a variety of things, but he's obviously had a horrible season. And honestly, trading him this offseason, you might be selling low, which I would hate to do. I love Bratter, but as I've said before, this core as a group is not going to get it done, and something has to change. And I can totally see Brat potentially being dealt. But it would suck to sell low on him, given that he has been our most consistent offensive producer over the last several seasons. And this year, like everybody else, he just disappeared. Just completely disappeared. And I'm hoping, like I've said the whole time, that Luke could have a solid finish to the season, have some confidence going into next year, and start to take more steps towards becoming that guy that a lot of us think he could be. And a lot of us don't think, but I do still believe in Luke Hughes and think he's going to be a very good player. But, when he signed that contract, it put that target on his back to many people, unfortunately, and it sucks, but that's the nature of the business. All right, let me get back to the chats here. It's Vonta Black. Huge win. We played a good aggressive game tonight. Snow, got to get Brown off that line. He doesn't fit. Proper. 12 guys in the Olympic run and 3 years of Cup final hockey tired. Yeah, I just talked about that a couple minutes ago. The excessive mileage, wear and tear on these guys, it finally probably caught up to them. And obviously Barkov has been out since early. So you combine all those things. It's a lot to overcome for any team, even if you are deep or stacked. Dirty Devils. Am I the only one who zeroed on the super high dude in the Pokemon sweatshirt behind the Panthers bench? I did miss that. Keep Agent Cody Glass. I don't want to trade Cody Glass. You guys know, to me, there's no such thing as untouchable players. Everybody's replaceable. But with that being said, given the lack of center depth for the New Jersey Devils over the past few seasons, And I'm definitely scarred, and I know many of you are as well. But, when we have the Glendennings of the world and, some of the other guys, we had Dowling and all these guys, it's like we finally seem to have 4 legitimate NHL centers, and now we're talking about trading one. I would hate to see it, mainly because I do like Glass, but even more so because I have no faith that Fitz would be able to find a guy at that level or better for next year. And so why, sell a guy like Glass to only create another hole for Fitz to have to fix in the offseason when he's shown that he's not the best at pretty much anything, if we're being honest. I think that it would be foolish, unless someone came in and blew you out of the water with a deal, which I don't anticipate. I think it would be extremely foolish to move Cody Glass. Bobby, thank you for the super. I'll add that I'm still on the bandwagon. We shouldn't trade Dougie, but I feel his days are numbered. Also, I like what number 72 has brought to the fourth line. Yeah, and there's rumors, believe it or not, can I pull it up? I don't think I can. There's rumors that Bukestad could be on the block as well already. I wouldn't mind that as much as Cody Glass. If I'm being honest, I do think you could find another fourth line center easier than finding a third line center to replace Cody Glass. But if I'm being honest, I'm going to go back to a few months ago. I would love to keep Cody Glass and find a legitimate 3C at some point in the offseason, which would push Cody Glass to 4C. I think that'd be amazing. But worst case scenario, Cody Glass is a very serviceable 3C. I think he's exceeded a lot of people's expectations this season, including mine. And I do like the kid. He's a gamer. He's got that fire in him. He's a little greasy. I am a big Cody Glass fan, and I just don't think that Fitz is going to be able to adequately replace him, regardless of what he was potentially traded for at the deadline. And so I don't want to trade him. But I'm sure there are some people that are just in the mode of wanting to sell everybody. But I think that's a little short-sighted, because keep in mind who is running the team and who's going to be tasked with replacing the guys that we, move on from at the deadline. Sherry, the refs sucked ass. What's going on, Mason? We won. David Chimes, does anyone remember the Kovalchuk team that almost came back from the dead to make the playoffs? Yeah, that was such a push. They got so close. I think that was the season when McLean got fired and Lemaire took over, right? They made a huge push under Lemaire, if I'm not mistaken. Ron, the TNT announcers were meat riding the Panthers. Lobster, what's going on? I was expecting more from the defending champions, but we're still 1 point behind the Panthers and 11 points from a wild card spot. Being behind the Cats despite winning against them hurts. I mean, we're behind everybody, my guy. This is what it's like to be a basement dweller. It absolutely sucks. But here we are. I would have never thought going into the season that it would turn out like this. And I think most of you, are kind of on the same page as me. There are people who I will call the doomers that were like, see, I told you so, that, constantly talk about how bad everything is and how the team sucks. And even during the 8-game winning streak, we're complaining. Like, it is what it is. But I certainly did not see this whatsoever. I did not think there was any chance that we were going to be this far out of a playoff spot, honestly. I thought we would have been comfortably in a playoff spot, but Joshua, the win is purely negative. We're ruining our own tank. This draft is hella loaded and we're throwing it away. Tanking is terrible. Repeat after me. Tanking is terrible. Terrible. All you people obsessed with the high draft picks, what even makes you believe that Fitz is even going to hit on the pick? There's been nothing done to make me believe that he's going to hit on a pick. It's been you just look at the history. We've done a lot of, I would say, long-term damage to the team with whiffing on picks. Holtz, Stillman, there's tons you could go through. It's just, I personally think that they should not be drafting with the pick. And I know a lot of people will disagree with that, but I firmly believe this year, the first rounder should definitely be traded either by itself or in a package to bring in win now pieces, immediate help, impact players. Collect records. What's going on? Jack and Grit should play together the rest of the season. I would like to see that. I think Jack and Grits definitely have some potential as a little duo. David Chim's trading Glass would be a huge mistake. I completely agree with you. This seems to be like one of those kind of polarizing 50-50-ish type of topics. It seems like there's a people on both sides of it. I do think at the moment more people are probably slightly leaning towards not wanting to trade Glass. But, you know, there's certainly the people that want to sell off everything too. Jay Snow, it's time to move Dougie. The problem is Luke's not really progressing. Listen, the people are going to kill me for this, but with these rumors, and I do think it's common sense. I talked about this a couple weeks ago as well. I do think there's a world where one or two other defensemen could be traded. I said this a few weeks ago, and now that was a rumor that I forget who tweeted it the other day, but someone said, it may have started from Elliot Friedman, where he said basically all of the defense except for Luke, Nemitz, and Pesci could be on the move. And honestly, I could see Nemo being moved as well, just because I do think he is going to command a lot of money this summer. And I don't know if the Devils are prepared to pay him that. So I could see them potentially moving off of him because of that, combined with the fact that he would bring back something of value, I do believe. You know, if you could move, say two of the three of Dilly, Siegenthaler, Kovacevic. Let's just pretend in this hypothetical world you move two of those three guys. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing to have Dougie here for next year. I don't think it'd be the craziest thing, but you certainly have to free up some money some way. And it seemed like Dougie was the most logical, but I'll miss Dougie. And like I said, if they do trade him, and coming into the season, I didn't want to trade him because I said I want to see more out of Nemo and Luke before we just assume they could take up the duties that Dougie was doing. And a lot of people are going to be all over the place with that as well. But, you know, if you trade two of those other three, I could see a world where Dougie's back next year. That's freeing up some decent money if you get, you know, if you move off of two of those three guys of Siegs, Kovacevic, and Dillon. You're talking about $7 to $8 million. SJ Grits is so good. Dude wins a ton of battles. Yeah, I think he's his kind of core power is a little bit underrated. He's a little bit of a tank build, and he definitely is strong on pucks, and he could win some one-on-one battles. I love Grits. Love that shot. Lobsy said, as much as I'd love to get a good pick, they aren't going to tank for the amount of money we pay this organization. You can't get players to tank. That's what people don't realize. Like a lot of fans want to tank. Again, I'll never be one of them, but fans want to tank for the pick and all this stuff, but like they're professional athletes. They're not trying to lose games. They don't give a shit about the draft pick. Some of these guys are playing for contracts, for increased roles, either on the Devils or a different team. And so you're not going to get a team to buy in and tank to get a higher draft pick. Oregano Dealer says Glass and Dougie for a better 3C. No idea. This is one of the more intriguing trade deadlines, in my opinion, just because there's so many different possibilities. Jeremy Proper, I can finally wear my Devils jersey tomorrow without getting shit from the Panthers fans. I mean, who really cares? Lobsty, we must praise high market teams. We shall ignore the ability of a small market team to absolutely destroy the defending champs. No one is better than them. Jason O'Grits is a scrappy dude. Yeah, I hope his contract doesn't become a problem this summer either, because he's certainly going to be looking to get paid. Yasuo Phoenix playing against other loser teams until Sunday. Yeah, we got Austin Matthews and the Leafs tomorrow. Jay Snow, he's strong on the wall, doesn't shy away from contact, and strong on his skates. Yeah, hockey player. Grits, baby. David Chime said, I'd rather get rid of Fitz than Dougie right now. I think that's the entire world, I would imagine. The entire fan base. Jack needs some of the Russian strength. Jeremy Proper, 100 peeps watching, only 25 likes. Smash it, folks. Aces here, rain, shine, winner, loss, blowout, or shutout. Appreciate that, Jeremy. Hit the thumbs up for your boy and for your New Jersey Devils winning back-to-back games when the season's already over. It is such a typical Devils thing, though. A lot of people predicted that. Like, given how bad they were before the break, like, they're going to play just good enough down the stretch to end up with, like, you know, a 10th or 12th pick. That would suck. But in the end, like, I have no faith for them to make the right pick if it's somewhere like that. And I hope they trade it anyway. Crazy Alex says, we'll be at tomorrow's game, going to make the most of it. Very nice. You're going to see another Olympic hero, Austin Matthews. Oregano Dealer says, tanking is whack. I'm with you. Renditch would rather the team get confidence going into next year than get a better lottery pick. Completely agree with you here. Could not agree more. And like I've said in the past, I think missing the playoffs in that 23-24 season, following up a franchise record-setting season, which saw us beat the Rangers in a beautiful 7-game series in the first round before getting decimated by the Panthers. I do believe missing the playoffs in that 23-24 season did some irreversible damage to this group. A lot of people think I'm crazy for that, but I don't think so. I think following up that season, you absolutely had to make the playoffs the next year. We had bad goaltending all year. Fitz hoped and wished it would get better. It never did, and we missed the playoffs, and I think that was severely, severely damaging to the group overall. Jack Hughes, truther, is it more? I guess, is it me? Is it me, or does this team play better with no expectations? 22-23, no expectations, and they pop off. Since then, they expected to take steps and fail. Now they are out of it and are playing good again. Well, I mean, listen, they won 2 games. To your point about 22-23, I just think that was kind of the season where everything came together and we caught teams by surprise, if I'm being honest. I really did believe after that season that it was the true turnaround and that we were going to be a perennial playoff team and a threat to go on a deep run year after year. And it never materialized. And some people were like, oh, that season was a fluke, and I never wanted to believe it. But now, years later, it's pretty much proven now that was indeed a fluke season and an outlier. This team has done absolutely nothing since then, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks, but we need some big changes, and they need to be coming this offseason, because bringing back now anything remotely that looks like this team next year is a recipe for disaster. If one of the core players is not moved, I think we're cooked. Outside of, trading tons of other guys that are not part of the core to free up money, and then being able to fill some of those spots with cheap guys or guys on entry-level deals, and then bring in a couple more impact players. I mean, there is a potential road there, but again, I unfortunately do not have faith in Fitz to be able to do any of that. Honky Lips, Butch called Timo Nico Meyer the whole first period was driving me nuts. He's a little elderly. Danny, thoughts on Siplikov? I mean, I don't have much. He's a bottom 6 guy that's, playing some minutes and not really bringing much. I'm curious. I don't see a future for him here. Let me see something. Okay, so he signed for next year as well. Yeah, hopefully they could get him going, and he could be a contributor in the bottom 6. I like the big body guys. I think we've been missing them for a while. Can we get the right pieces around all these guys to have a balanced 4 lines that could compete in this league? That is going to be the task for, I'm assuming, Fitz, unfortunately, for the summer. Michael TMO, looked like the Rock was half full tonight on TV. Was anyone there to confirm that? I'd be curious as well. Someone texted me early on that it was pretty empty and then it got a little fuller, but I'm expecting attendance to be pretty sparse down the stretch. Justin says 5 goals. How'd that happen? Well, two of them came on the empty net. Justin said fans wanted Markstrom to go for the open net. I always want to see the goalies try. Watching Marty score that goal, the one that he actually shot against the Canadiens in the 1997 playoffs, was just epic. Would love to see another Devils goalie do it. But after the last game, a lot of people were pissed at Markey for trying it, but I'll never be mad. Go for it. Jack Hughes, truther, Devils will be 2 points out of a playoff spot in the West. Outside of those top 3 teams, the West is so bad. Well, we're in the East. We are in the East, my friends. Jason, no, maybe the Devils just need to be dragged into a fight to play hard. What's going on, Nicole? Any predictions for potential trades? I don't think we're going to bring in anybody of substance as I've maintained for a few months, I think if anything, you're going to see another Sprong-esque type trade. With no disrespect to Siplikov or Bukestad, those are essentially similar types of deals. I don't think we're going to see the flashy big name that so many people are clamoring for and clamored for last season. And I think you are going to see mostly, sell type moves, whether that's a guy like Dougie, potentially a guy like Cotter. And like I said, on defense, I could see any one of, aside from Dougie, Kovacevic, Siegs, or Dilly being dealt. We're kind of in this weird spot where I could see a lot of guys being sold off. Jason Dylan is the perfect example why you need that sandpaper. He just kept people in line. I love Dilly. I hope he gets a chance to go chase a cup. Love Dilly, but man, he came here to win a cup, and this is not going to happen. BMP will be an interesting trade deadline, hearing a lot of different things, buying and or selling. I think they're going to be mostly selling. Now, if there is a deal out there to bring in a piece that could help beyond this season, a guy that has a couple years left on his deal, by all means, I would love to see the Devils do it. I just don't know that they're going to be in the mix for any guys like that. SJ, the mental part of the game is the team's biggest weakness. They have the talent, but their minds are always there. Oregano dealer, a complete 60-minute team. Yeah, I like that version of the Devils too. Jason, no, Boldy's a stud. They'd never trade him. Garen's not going to trade Boldy. Boldy's a beast. Yeah, I love Boldy. He's not going anywhere. Billy G's trying to win a cup. He's making moves out here. Samuel, go Dilly, 4 minors in 1 period. Yeah, that was wild. SJ, Bratt was good in this game. Legit, haven't seen that in a while. Doug, Bratt is known around the league as an elite playmaker. His value will hold. I think that's until you try to trade him and they point to his down year. But obviously, he's been consistently good for several seasons leading up to this one. Who the hell knows what happened? But Samuel, how about allowing no shots over 15 minutes in the third period? Wow, was that? I knew it was a while. I didn't realize it was that long. Rendich, I don't find it likely that Bratt would waive no move clause, but who knows? You never know, depending on where the potential destination is. But I don't think they're going to try to trade him. If I'm being honest, I think you see another offseason where there's nothing substantial done, and it's like bottom 6 tinkering again. I think we're going to see almost an exact carbon copy of last offseason, except there might have to be a few more moves because of the amount of guys that could be either dealt at the deadline or not brought back next year. But we'll see. Oregano says mostly healthy Jack is the best Jack we'll ever see. Crazy to think about that. Doug says Dougie's 100% getting dealt Friday. I wouldn't say 100%. I think it's more likely than not, but I would not be shocked at all if he's not. Justin, Comets win and what could be Nico Dawes' last game as a Comet or a Devil. A lot of people speculating on that front as well. Another interesting thing to keep an eye on is Nico Dawes. Super unfortunate for him that that Jake Allen wanted to stay here, because that ultimately led to a messed up situation for him. Jay Snow, I want to see Jack continue to play good hockey. Teams are going to try to get physical with him. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the scouting report on him, I think, for pretty much his whole career. Is beat, and the Devils at large beat on them and they wilt. I mean, that's kind of been what it has been. And hopefully, again, we could bring in a couple scritty guys. Bring in some scritty guys, the skilled, gritty forwards who can help morph the identity of this team from what it is right now to one that's a little bit more balanced and a little bit more tough, rough around the edges, whatever you want to call it. Michael said Glass just tied his season high in goals. Doubt he's going. Never underestimate Tom Fitzgerald maneuverings if he thinks he could cash out high on a guy. Crazy Alex, why don't GMs trade leading up to deadline day instead of waiting until the final day? I think it's like poker. You know, it's like a lot of posturing. I'm sure there's tons of calls going on and conversations, but people think, whether they're on the buying or selling side, they think the deal is going to improve for them as it gets closer, because now it's like, there's no more time to bullshit here. It's like, you got to make the deal or not. The deadline's here. And I think that's why, obviously, you see the most deals actually on deadline day, which obviously, guys, if you weren't aware by now, I'm going to be doing an all-day live on deadline day. I'm sure I'm going to be disappointed. I mean, and many of you will, because we're not going to bring in anything of substance. So I think from that aspect, it'll be slightly underwhelming and disappointing, but I'm going to be doing the live all day. We're going to be tracking the moves for our beloved New Jersey Devils and around the league. Trade deadline days Friday, all day live. Buckle up. Buckle up. Dougie is holding up the defensive pipeline and gets paid way above how he performs. But what is the pipeline really? Ethan Edwards and Seamus Casey, maybe. I think that's probably pretty much it. Oregano Dealer says I see Mercer and Dougie going. I could totally see Mercer. And if Mercer's dealt, and you guys know I like Mercer, I hope if Mercer's dealt, it's in a package to bring in something, a guy or guys that will truly impact the team and not just nonsense. David Chimes, if anyone wants to nerd out on where advanced stats can go wrong, look at how the Cats earned 2.5 expected goals on one sequence. You can only score once a sequence. Makes them look better than they were. There's so many holes in those numbers, David. That's why I just think people need to, kind of reevaluate where they're at with their obsession with all of this stuff. Honky Lips, I like Bratt, not his best season, but that goes for a lot of the team. Yeah, the whole team has underperformed this year. Ryan Fisher, Bukestad on the block. Do you think that after Fitz acquired him, somebody showed him the standings? It's quite possible that he was like, wait a minute. We're not in the playoffs. Justin says they need to trade Bratt. I don't think they need to trade Bratt, but I do think he's one of the pieces that would bring you the most in return and would kind of provide that kickstart, shake-up kind of move that I think the team is long overdue for. David Chimes, I'm fine with the centers. We have 100% all keepers. I'm with you. I wouldn't be devastated if Bukestad gets dealt because I think you could find another fourth-line center somewhere. But on paper, I think these are probably the four best centers we've had in quite some time. Esther says, Doug, he has to be a point per game since being scratched. If not a point per game, he's damn close to it. David Chimes, I'd keep Bukestad. The buzz is we can flip him for more. Justin says, keep Glass. Corey, Dilly was great tonight. I think some of the Western contenders will look to bring him in, adds character and grit, team guy. Yeah, I could see a lot of teams wanting him for a playoff run, and I honestly hope that he gets dealt to one of them. I love Dilly. I'll miss him. You guys know he's one of my favorite players, but it kills me to see a guy like him, just rotting at the end of his career on a team like this. Michael, I am not going to the Rangers game. Chill, Ansmo. Tanking is stupid. I'm with you. I don't like it. Anson's for the tank. A lot of people are. Doug, we went on so many losing streaks for no reason other than not being able to score. Yeah, scoring one goal a game is not going to get it done in this league. Snow, I'm down for the tank. We just need Fitz gone. Brian Fisher, tanking is just dumb. Most of these players will still be together and need to learn how to win together. I'm with you, sir. I am with you. Doug, 10th overall pick 2 years ago in Salayev. What has he done for the Devils roster? Again, Doug, I completely agree. I was very vocal, very, very vocal leading up to that draft that I wanted to trade that pick for a win-now player. Very vocal. Lots of people disagreed with me. Some did agree with me, but in the end, if that pick was dealt, again, either by itself or in a package, who knows what could have been different from then on. But the organization seems obsessed with drafting with these picks, and here we are. I would have loved to have traded it, just like I'm saying once again, this year's first-round pick, I have zero interest in drafting with it, and I want to trade it. Doug said, if anything, Fitz should have sent Salayev in a package for Quinn, but he came in second. I did see a rumored package for Quinn that did have Salayev in it. Richie Rob, great win tonight. Can't complain about the effort. Maybe you get a spark going from here on. The defense has looked slightly better with getting Luke back. I mean, I don't know what kind of spark you're looking for. I'd like to see them finish strong. It's just so unfortunate that, barring, again, the miracle of all miracles, there is no playoff hockey at the Rock this spring. Lobster Meat 57, we need players, not picks. Draft is such a crapshoot. Completely agree. David Chimes, a number 16 pick is not worth much. Less than a number 8 pick. Top 7 really is worth a ton and hard for a GM to miss. I know Fitz managed to do that with Holtz. And I believe he would manage to do it again if we had a pick that high. Losing is not rational. SJ, Luke isn't as agile as Quinn. Maybe because he's bigger, so he has to move that puck way faster. I just think Quinn is very shifty and a very, very good skater. Obviously, Luke's a good skater too, but he's not on Quinn's level. Quinn is just ridiculous, and he sees the ice so well, makes quick decisions. Alan, Ace, I know I am probably 90% older than most in this chat, but what is this tank bullshit? Never remember real fans wanted to do that back in the day. I do think it's a more newer, younger fan kind of thing, Alan. I'm sure there's older fans that are kind of this mindset as well, but I can never be. I can never be one of, we should lose more games to get a higher pick. Like, I'm not a fan of that, but it does seem like it has become a more popular kind of thought process, I would say, in the past several years. I'll never be on board with it, but there is a large contingency of people that just look at it as, well, if we're not in the playoffs, we might as well get as high of a pick as possible. Anson says Salive will pay off. I hope so. David Chimes, Keefe not changing the system as a tank for draft positioning move. Not sure if that's why he's being bullheaded, at least not at first. Doug, it's such a loser mentality thinking the NHL draft is like the NFL draft where tanking is a legit thing. Honky Lips, I wouldn't want to play alongside a teammate who calls himself a professional and tanks on a season. Like I said before, I don't think any of these guys would willingly lose games. And so I just think the whole kind of notion of tanking is a little silly. Jello, it's me. Do you think that another center might be needed to move Jack to the wing to get the most potential out of him? He played good in the Olympics on wing, so maybe he feels more free on the wing. No, I just think it's a personnel thing. Right now, for the first time in forever, we have 4 legit centers, I would say, like NHL quality centers. I mean, we always had Jack and Nico, but then for the past few seasons, the 3 and 4 C's have been a little iffy. I just think it's more of the quality of line mates or the right fit with Jack versus a center versus wing thing. I do think he probably does prefer to play center, but if in some fictitious magical world we had 4 other legitimate centers other than Jack Hughes and he could play well on a wing with one of them, I think it would be a possibility. But, in a vacuum, I don't think it's like, oh, Jack is better as a winger. He just looked good as a wing in the Olympics because he had line mates that he clicked with, if that makes sense. And so if we had, again, 4 legit centers and there was one that he could develop that chemistry with, is it something we may see in the future? I think it's possible, but I do think for now, Jack does prefer playing center. And until we have ample or above average center depth, I don't think you'll see it here. Doug, you're saying let's tank for a prospect that will emerge in the roster 3 years from now. Wow, that helps the Devils so much. Yeah, it's more of kicking the can down the road and people putting off winning and talking about what we always talk about, talking about how bright the future is. The future is bright. Anson, tanking is winning mentality because you procure power in a high-value draft pick. Only option if you miss the playoffs. Snow said he's all for trading the pick too. Yeah, I want to trade the pick. Anson says if you get a top 4 pick, you likely have an NHL-ready player. That's not always true either. Sometimes that is, but that's definitely not always the case. Snow, I want it to be a good pick, though, for a better return. For a better return, they're not trading it. Let's be real. They're going to draft with that thing. I would love to see him trade it, but that's not going to happen. The future is bright. I'm with you, Doug. It's not helping us anytime soon, and therefore I don't care. Win now. Win right now. which sounds crazy to talk about given that we're just such a bad team right now. But Doug, Fitz had a 2nd and 10th overall pick and didn't trade them. I wanted to trade both, Doug. Wanted to trade them both. Alex says, get rid of Dylan, Covey, and Siegs. They won't have impact on this team that much. Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is, if you do that, right, if you traded all 3 of them, I can't see all 3 of them getting traded. I think at most you would see 2 of the 3 traded. But if in some world they traded all 3 of them, then Dougie's here. Samuel says, I'm really sorry, Lindy. Bungie, the hype train is back on, boys. Next stop, Lord Stanley's Cup. Jay Snow, huge mistake not taking Cooley. Completely agree. Obviously, if we had Cooley, you'd like to think this is a much better team. David, 100% agree that the 23-24 no goaltending started the losing attitude. Yeah, I think it was a slippery slope. They thought maybe upper management was like, oh, we missed the playoffs. It's not a big deal. We'll be right back. And I think that had a lingering effect. How I got here, Jeremy Bummer. And Fitz, I do not trust. We actually could pull ourselves out of the basement if we hit on a few trades. I don't trust. I don't think it's going to happen. Rye 812, do you think trading Toffoli was a major part of us not making the playoffs in 23-24? I get goaltending, but I really like Toffoli. I like Toffoli too, but we only traded him because it was clear we weren't making the playoffs. He got dealt at the deadline, so it was like, it's not like they traded him early and then we tanked and didn't make the playoffs. We didn't make the playoffs, like you said, because of the goaltending, and as a result, on deadline day, when it became clear Toffoli wanted more money than the Devils wanted to pay him, that the only option they had was to trade him, which sucked, and he was never replaced. Yada, yada, and round we go. Fitz thought he would be able to replace him with someone we had here, like a Mercer or a Tatar. Was the last kind of desperation signing of that summer. None of it panned out, and we've still never replaced Toffoli with a legit top 6 guy. So it kind of sucks. So it's been 95 days since we scored 5 goals. Richie, do you think there's a chance we trade Bukestad? I'd like seeing him in red so far. I think there's a chance. I think there's definitely a chance. I wouldn't be surprised by anything. Ace, would you do Mercer for Shane Wright? Let me just see his contract first. So he has 1 more year on his deal. Yeah, I would do that trade. I don't know that Seattle would, but I would do that trade. David, Bukestad, Siplikov, Cotter could be a good energy line. Looked at tonight. Wish Siplikov finishes golden opportunity in the first period off a great pass by Bukestad. It's Van to Black. Brendan Dillon has kind of reminded me of Scott Stevens with his defense. Okay. David, Ace sounds crazy, but 21 games left and only 11 back of Boston for last wild card spot. I think if we win 3 or 4 in a row, there's a chance. Oh, brother. Brother. Let it go, dog. It's over. Snow says, not getting Quinn just keeps looking worse. I agree. Jeremy, proper buyer's market, we're going to lose out again. I mean, I don't think there's any major pieces that are going to be moved anyway, and so how much are you really losing out? Samuel says, no cap space means a hard road to improvement. I think there'll be plenty of cap space with some of these moves that happen. Probolts, I could see Toronto for Hamilton. I think people have talked about Dallas before. SJ, they might trade Dougie, but that offense from the blue line will sink. Yeah, that's why, listen, if they trade some of the other guys and free up money, maybe Dougie's back next year. BMP, unless the Devils get a new GM, I don't think any of the core will be moved. I completely agree. I think he's head over heels in love with the core, and I don't think he has it in him to trade any of them, even if it improves the team. Anson, Dougie will heat up in a new team. I mean, he's heated up here. Doug Sebastian Nemitz will take his role and do way better. I have high hopes for Nemo. I hope it all works out, and he's here for a long time. But again, nothing will surprise me with this team at this time. Dylan wanted head, says John Fay. He really did. Samuel, thinking Fitz is a really smart man, pulling the wool over the owner's eyes so he could lead this team to a cup and get paid big dollars along the way. I think as long as business is good and the team's making money, it seems like that is what matters most to the owners. I wish that was not the case, but it certainly seems like that could be the case, which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate for the fans. It's unfortunate for the players. It's unfortunate for a lot of people involved. Pro Bolt says, I do Mercer for White. Sherry does not want Mercer traded. I don't want him traded necessarily either, but something has to give. And you got to give to get. There's not going to be any major improvements to this team without trading someone that stings a little bit. Doug says, move Dougie. Keep Nemitz, Pesci, and Kobe for the right side. Justin says, I think Bratt needs a change of scenery. I could see him heating up and being a great player in another city as well. Or maybe it's just, something about this year, and next year he's back on the Devils and it's back to what he looked like for the several seasons before this one. But for whatever reason, this year he's just looked horrible for most of it. Justin says, I think Dylan stays. Faces, I also think Dylan stays. Sergeant Buckcake, what would we do at the trade deadline? A few sell-offs. I think we see a few sell-offs, nothing major. Good for Markey. The Olympics gave him confidence. Fans really wanted Markstrom to try and score tonight. Yeah, obviously, goalie goals are insane. Doug, Zeev was 100% more NHL ready. Salayev was just beastly in size. And obviously, he was one of the pieces dealt from Minnesota to Vancouver in the Quinn Hughes deal. John Faces, I don't trust anything Fitz does, whether it be trading, drafting, or managing. I'm right there with you, too. Snow says, we need Fitz gone. That's our first move. It's not happening. It is not happening. I don't trust Fitz turning on a water faucet. Snow, there's no way Fitz should survive this season. I think he does, though. I completely agree. He shouldn't, but he will. Stewart says, Heischer plus 2 firsts for Matthews. Oof. Seems a little steep-ish, but I could see that kind of being the ask. I would like it a lot better if it was like a first and something else plus Nico, not 2 firsts. But wow, Austin Matthews on the Devils would be crazy. But I really want Brady, obviously. If there's any possibility of him getting dealt, Fitz needs to be all in on that. That is the franchise-altering move. David says, players don't tank. GMs sometimes set up tanks. Fitz created a tank through incompetence. Wasn't intentional. Yeah, that really was a long-winded tank. Who's worse their job, Tom Fitzgerald or Aaron Boone? I don't follow the Yankees enough to know, but it would be hard for me. It would be hard for me to believe that Aaron Boone could be anywhere near as bad at his job as Fitz is at his. I just can't believe it. It's nearly an unprecedented level of incompetence, in my opinion. Mark, the whole tank thing is nonsense to get a good pick. The Devils have gotten top picks the last several years, and look where it's got them. Completely agree, but there's always going to be these pro-tanking people. It is what it is. Frank, I lived through the Penguins tanking for Lemieux. Worked out pretty well for them. Just saying, point being, if there's a generational talent at stake, tanking is not the worst thing you could do. Yeah, but there's no guarantee. You still have to go into the lottery, so there's that whole element. Not to mention that, as far as I know, there is, in most drafts, there's not a Mario Lemieux, and to my knowledge, there's not one in this draft. Jason says I would trade Heischer for Matthews. I think most people would. Right. Even if they do finish, exactly. You still have to, it's not automatic. And so that makes it even crazier to me. Robbie's bench toss. Heischer, Hughes, Demetz, and Luke, all top 4 picks. And look where we are still. Traded for help now. Completely agree. Trade for a win now impact player. David Chime says Wright is more valuable than Mercer. Yeah, I don't know that Seattle would do that deal. And we're back. Oh, I got to hit a button. Hold on. Hold on. Reset everything. This is a nightmare. Total nightmare. And we're back. Oh, I got to hit a button. Hold on. Oh, no, I got that too. Hold on. Reset everything. This is a nightmare. Total nightmare. All right, I should be back. Can you guys hear me? What a nightmare. Power outage. Can you guys hear me? Everything went off. Then everything came back on like a minute later. My computer started rebooting and doing updates, and then the power went off again, and then it had to restart. So apologies again. This is not user error. So you people chirping me, you're clowns. I cannot do anything about a power outage. So I don't know what to tell you. All right, let me get back to these comments here. I forget the hell we were talking about when the power went out. That was bullshit. Let me get back up here. I don't know. I have standard electricity provided by PSE&G. I don't know what happened, but we lost power. We're back. Everyone wants a righty. When you look at some of the power play units earlier in the season, it was like 4 lefties. And a lot of times guys get handcuffed because they get the puck in an awkward spot where they can't shoot. It would be nice to have a righty sniper. Yeah, need a righty shot. For some reason, my hope is still alive. How many points do we need to make the playoffs? Oh, man. Just let it go, dog. It's over. It's so over. Gleason says righty shot equals Prosper. B-Devil89, Mercer is not worth the $4.5 million. Need more production. Appreciate him playing every game so far, but where's the production chance generator? Can we fire the Devils owners? No, we cannot. Doug, with the cap rising, 4.5 million is like 2.5 million. I think the cap increases are lost on a lot of people. I've been talking about the new cap era for a while. And more to my point of a lot of people are like, Doug, you at 9 million is terrible. Like, it's really not that bad in this cap era. It's really not. No, I'm not splicing illegal cable. Fitz pulling the wires outside. Oh, you guys. I think it could happen in Jersey. Ace is preparing for man versus wild in real life. Yeah, it sucks. We're at the mercy of others. But American swagger, guys. We won a gold medal. Our NHL team might be bad, but for many of us, our country won the gold. American swagger, and we got the beautiful Billy Guerin mantra on the back. Look at that. Huh? Whatever it takes with the bald eagle. Get your American swagger apparel. Link in the chat on the website. Yeah, I'm getting trash talks from my Wi-Fi with a power outage. I know. No, I was not doing the show from Saskatchewan. Man. But bunch of funny guys in here. PSE is going to get a nasty message tomorrow. David, the more days that go by until Friday gets here, the more I think Fitz still really thinks this team has plenty of runway and he probably won't make any trades. Well, we're going to be selling. We will be sellers. Maybe he brings in some pieces that could, help us beyond this season, but my expectations are super low. John Fay, am I the only one who thinks we're going to get smacked by the Leafs tomorrow? I hope I'm wrong. But bad now, great later. I could see them beating the Leafs. I don't think that's an automatic loss by any stretch, personally. John Fay, we will be sellers, but we actually may not do jack shit. Well, we're going to free up cap space, if nothing else. How much, I have no idea, but, oh, man. When I was in Italy, I whacked my shin on a concrete pillar, and it hurts like hell. I have this massive knot on my leg, and I keep kind of re-aggravating it and hitting it on stuff. It's terrible. Sean, I know games mean nothing at this point, but I still want to win them. Yeah, so do I. I'm not one of these pro-tanking people and want to see the team finish strong. Jay Snow, I would love to see Jack evolve his game to like what Grits does. Jack's never going to run people, be just stronger on the puck and his skates. You know that could happen with a vigorous offseason workout regimen. Get on that Nemo plan. Anson says Nico Mercer and a first for Austin Matthews. I don't know would that be enough? I don't know. Matthews makes like what, $13 million bucks. I've always liked him. I just don't know. I think that's probably somewhat of a pipe dream. Doug Fitz hasn't looked at the standings. He still might be buying. Snow, you've seen Jack in person. How much do you think he really weighs? He looks like he's 150 pounds. I would probably say, I don't know, 160 to 170 would be my guess. I would say somewhere in there. What do they list him at? I don't think he's 150. I think 160 to 170 is probably more in the range. They have him listed at 175, so. Kaki, just as you said, Boldy's a beast. He got an assist on a wild goal along with Quinn. Yeah, Quinn Hughes is just putting up crazy numbers since he's been there. Corey, have the combo with Nico's agent now. See what the asking price is and go from there. I'd re-sign him, but he may not want to stay, so better to know now. I'm sure that will be discussed the day that it's eligible, which I think might be July 1st. I'm not sure. It's sometime this offseason. But, yeah, obviously, if he's not sure, that opens up the path to potentially trade him. Yeah, watch out for the pillars. They jump out at you. I walked right into it, too. I was trying to film something, not paying attention, and I ate it. It was like a short, stumpy one, too. It was like a couple feet tall. They had these weird things on the sidewalks, and I just walked into it full blast, right into my shin bone. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. David Ace, totally off topic, but do you think the U.S. will win World War III if it breaks out soon? I mean, I would have to believe yes. The United States military is pretty damn strong. I'd have to believe that we would. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Ace, what would be your top offer for Brady? Man, I would pay a disgusting price for Brady because I believe in him that much. I do think he is the franchise-altering type player that we so desperately need. And so I would offer a ton for him. Now, I would not want to trade Jack Hughes because I've always, in my head, the dream was always to have Brady and Jack playing together. And so any deal you could make, which you have that combo, I would do it. Justin Smith, love how Nemeth stood up for Jack Hughes in the first period. Yeah, after the hit, Nemo was kind of the first guy there, and he grabbed the guy. I would have liked to see him do a little bit more, but he did something, which is better than nothing. SJ, $4 million is fine for Mercer. 40 points, it's all right for that money. I agree too. It's not a crazy. It's not an overpayment in my opinion. Would I like to see more production? Sure, but I think for what he gives you, his contract is fine. Doug, they demanded Mercer to get bigger this offseason. Maybe him and Jack should hop in with Nemeth for a few sets. Nemo went beast mode. We saw the photos. Jason, Ace, I told you to stop drinking pina coladas and walking into stuff. There was no drinking involved. It was just sheer caught up filming, looking at stuff, and just walking on the sidewalk and slammed it. Oh, it hurts. It's like a knot. I can feel it when I walk. Justin, USA has never lost a war. Richie, my Brady offer, but will never happen. Oh, I can't wait to see this. Anson, I would secretly build the U.S. Olympic team as much as possible. I mean, how are you going to secretly build the U.S. Olympic team? Doug, I would never send so much for Wyatt Johnston, but if they did send him off for Rantanen, he's never leaving Dallas. John Fay, Nemo belly flopped and the dude to defend Jack. Snow, does Ace have a kid? No, man. No kids for me. Just nephews. Just nephews. No kids. 0 children's. David S. I read Colorado's trying to get Kadri back again. I mean, yeah, Kadri's a great guy to have on a true contending team. You know, his contract is a bit high for his age and what he has left on the deal, but for a team that's truly trying to win, Kadri's a dog. Gleason, $4 million for 40 points would be great if Mercer if he didn't play power play in 18 minutes a game. Hundreds of players playing 18 plus minutes a night can get you 40. I don't know about hundreds. Anson, Quinn, Brady, Austin Matthews, and the league will catch on. I'd be thrilled to get any one of those guys. To get any one of those guys would be a phenomenal thing where I would cry tears of joy. Brady's my number one and has been my number one forever. But those other guys certainly would be a nice boost to this lineup as well. Man, my shin is rocked. Yeah, some of you guys are crazy with these chat comments. Yeah, this is out of control. Justin, Calgary doesn't want to retain anything on Kadri, so I think the Avs are out. I could see that. I could see that. Some team might be desperate enough to take him with no retention if they think he's going to put them over the edge, put him over the hump. SJ says we're not getting Matthews. I don't think so either. I just can't see it. It would be phenomenal if we did. Any sort of big-time acquisition like that would be awesome. Corey Robinson, Brady's parents watching tonight's game with the Hughes family. Quinn signs here when he's free. Offer up the ranch to get Brady the summer of 27. I don't know. Brady would be so great. Gleason, I want to know what Ace would actually do if we got Brady. It'd be scary. I'd have a celebration. Maybe I'd try to coordinate a parade of some kind. The Brady Tkachuk parade. It would be awesome. It's never going to happen, but it's nice to dream. It's certainly nice to dream. Yeah, the shin's a bad spot. It's real bad. It's like I have like an egg. This was like it was like a 2-foot concrete pillar, and I just walked into it full steam, and I walk pretty fast. I'm like a New York City pace walker. Most people when I'm walking with a lot of my friends, they're like, dude, what the hell? Like, slow down. And then people are like, your legs are longer. That's a common one I get. Your legs are longer. That's why you could walk faster. I'm like, no, it's because I'm moving my legs faster. But yeah, full blast right into the pillar. My buddy was dying laughing. I wanted to crack him, but I was in no position to beat his ass because I could barely walk. I was dragging my leg. It was terrible. David, I would do Dougie to Carolina for Taylor Hall and retain salary. 0 chance that happens. Taylor Hall is not coming here, and I don't think Carolina would want to get rid of him. Michael, the Devils played like we played earlier in the year. Yeah, except they played poorly for a very long stretch in between, and here we are. Looking towards next season, talking about what are we going to do at the trade deadline because the future is so bright. Protect your retinas. Jason, no, I think the Devils told Keefe to F off tonight. We're playing with speed. I don't know if it was that, but John Fay, that in the minute Jack was boarded, the entire team woke up and rallied. I would have liked to see a little bit more of a response than we saw. I mean, the response was more than nothing. So I'll take a response, but to me, it was another one of those kind of like going through the motions, fake reactions versus like a real reaction. I think Dilly was looking for a real scrap. Like he wanted blood, but it's more of like the pushing and the light shoving. Like, I'll take it over nothing, but I want to see like real responses. Like guys peeled out of the scrum, gloves dropped, and someone just worked over in the corner. Like I don't want to see the fake gangster stuff. I want to see the real gangster stuff. Well, I put this in the way. Get this back on. I was like, why am I so hot? The fan didn't go back on with the power reset. Bonzo, now that the pressure is off them, they're playing well. What does that say about their character? I don't even know if that's necessarily what it is. And like, let's be real, they won 2 games in a row, so it's not like they ripped off this huge winning streak. They have players where they can win games. Like it's not like we're a bad team with no players whatsoever. And, on any given night, if they don't play like complete crap, they still have a chance to win. SJ says Brady for Nico, maybe, but no center like Nico would hurt. I don't think Otto would take that deal anyway. I think you would need more than just him. But yeah, again, creating another hole. Where are these centers coming from? We just finally were able to kind of solve that riddle. Jason, we play better when teams want to get physical. The transition game was way better than I've seen in a long time. Doug says the inconsistency is so baffling. Consistently inconsistent. John Fay, if Kobe was in, I think the hits would have been different between him and Dilly. Yeah, you guys know I like Kovacevic too. He's got a little bit of that rough and tumble game to him. Jason, I wanted someone to scrap with the rat. He was running his mouth, but he did absolutely nothing. Talking about Marchand. Yeah, he was kind of in the mix. Doug, you only score 1 goal each game, 4 games straight, and then we have a night like tonight. It was a nice change of pace. Dilly was going full gangster. No one wanted it. David Ace, what about Mercer and a first for Brady? I think that's fair for both teams. David, you're delusional. The Senators would never take that. Ever. It's just so undervaluing Brady. That would be like the deal of the millennium if the Devils were able to pull that off. Faye said, I'll say the 4 minutes was worth it. The Panthers wanted the smoke and Dilly delivered. I wish he did more. Snow said, I think those Dilly penalties were garbage. Yeah, I don't know how the first time he got the double minor or whatever, or was it 2 separate penalties the first time? I don't remember. The second time was 2 separate penalties. But how we ended up shorthanded after Jack got boarded from behind was insane. Justin says Ottawa's not trading Brady. I don't think so either. But I don't know if it's in the offseason or maybe next trade deadline. At some point, I think he's going to just be like, get me the hell out of here. Between the team just struggling, between all the nonsense that he's been dealing with the media there, like I just think it's time for him to move on. So no, Dylan just grabbed the guy with one hand and ragdolled him and got a penalty. Jason, I thought Cotter, Marchie would have been a great scrap. I'd like to see that one. Richie says for Brady, Nico, Bratt, and a first rounder. That seems super steep. It seems very steep, but if Nico's not going to re-sign, I don't think it's as crazy as people are going to make it out to be. Like if Nico says I'm not re-signing here, I would do that deal. It seems crazy, but I would do that deal, I think. I would try to get Ottawa to throw in something on the other side, whether it's like a roster player or maybe another pick or something. But, if Nico says he's not going to re-sign, I don't think that's that crazy. He has 1 year left on his deal. David says he would never do that. It's a fleecing for Ottawa. I don't think it seems steep at first, but I don't think it's as crazy as it comes off. John Fay, if anything, the Canadian media is going to run Brady out of Ottawa. That's my opinion. I think it could certainly add to it. But who wants to deal with that garbage every single day? It's got to be completely annoying and taxing. Doug says all this talk on trading Nico. He was 17-3 in the circle tonight. I don't want to trade him, but I'm just saying as a function of if he conveys that he's not positive he's going to re-sign, then you got to explore it. You can't lose him for nothing. Nico takes the most draws in the league. Gleason, Marchand doesn't want to fight 5% of the time. He always goes after Nemo for a reason. He's there to pick his spots and maybe fight someone near his height. Richie says, I know it does, but Nico could walk. Snow, I think Nico has way too much responsibility on this team. If he didn't, his offense would be way up. Jello, it's me. I think Matthews would be good in either New Jersey or Carolina. Sorry, I don't think they'll be trading him anytime soon or at all, but hypothetically, Dougie plus a prospect and a 26 or 27 first. Are you talking about for Matthews? He would get more than that too. Dougie, a pick and a first, Dougie, a first-round pick and a prospect's not getting that done. Doug says it'll be thanks to Fitz if Nico walks. For sure. I mean, the guy wants to win, and he's seen what has gone on over the past few seasons. But he's not any closer to winning a cup than he was years ago. SJ says Nico is so important, dominant on faceoffs. Gleason, if Nico starts a season without a contract, you fire Fitz on the spot. Fitz is bulletproof. Bulletproof. David S. says if Nico won't resign, I would do Nico, Glass, and Cotter. They're not taking that either. Where do you... Some of the trade proposals people come up with are truly mind-blowing to me. Like, no offense, David, but you really think Nico, Glass, and Cotter is a realistic trade package to get Brady Tkachuk? Michael, I don't like trading Bratt. We shouldn't get rid of him. I mean, listen, I wouldn't be thrilled to trade him either, but the reality is, if you want this team to move forward and progress as a team, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. You're not going to be able to just pick up these great players by trading spare parts. You're going to have to give up something of substance, and Jesper Bratt would be something of substance I could totally see going in a deal like that. John Fay, I honestly don't blame Nico for walking, but I hope he decides on re-signing, even if it's for 1 or 2 seasons. I don't think anyone's going to do that. These guys all want the long-term guarantee now. I can't see him doing that. 1 or 2 seasons it's too risky. Doug says no one wants to just trade Bratt. Yeah. Jello, it's me. Matthews has a no move, so treat Tree Living like he's jury and maybe you please. Gleason, I also hated that people started to like Marchand recently. I hope it's swinging back the other way. He was telling someone on the Fins, I'll end your career. Don't think I won't. Wow. And you just punch him in the mouth. Doug, we need a roster shakeup and lefty playmakers or something we have a plethora of. Also true. Richie, all the trade talk is fun, but I truly believe Fitz makes window dressing moves by the deadline. All the heavy moves will come after the season. That's what I've said for months as well, Richie. I think we just sell a few pieces, maybe some minor moves, another Sprong-esque type move or two. And I think that's it. I don't think you see anything of substance until the summer for sure. Jello, it's me. Not being serious, though. They'll probably get a decent package, but could be underwhelming for Toronto. I don't think they trade him, but if they do, I think people would pay a lot. I think that's a guy that people would pony up for. Man, my shin is killing me, folks. Marchie took a dumb penalty for no reason. Justin, watch the Devils extend Fitzgerald. Oh, no, I can't see that. That'd be crazy. If you don't like Marchie's trash talk, run him. You got to respect the Rats' hustle. 100%. A guy like Claude Lemieux to me, a guy that you hate on all the other teams you would love to have on your team. That's Brad Marchand. Doug, the last thing Fitz wants is to feel pressure and lose a deal in his mind, which leaves us stranded as usual. Yeah, I do think he does like winning deals. And any deals that require a little bit of gamble or just kind of ballsiness, we don't see. We just don't see it. Gleason, Marchand escapes his beatings. That's the problem. Yeah, I'd love a guy like Marchand on the Devils too. last season when the rumors were coming out that he was going to get dealt, many of you will recall, I was like, the Devils should be in on this guy. Now, I know that Marchand definitely had a lot of say in where he was going, and he likely had zero interest in coming to the Devils, but I firmly wanted him, as a Devil. That would have been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. We've missed an element like that for entirely too long. A guy like that, I think, would be a really nice piece to have. And you saw the monster playoff he had for Florida. Yeah, I have a bad one. It's like an egg, dude. It's like an egg on my shin. Oh my God. It's actually worse than I realized. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's a pretty sizable welt, and it hurts like hell. And I keep like hitting it on stuff. And I have to be very cautious. Like, a lot of times I would like dive in my bed. Like, I can't do that. I have to like strategically, when I'm messing around with my nephews. Yeah, I just keep re-aggravating it. Bukestad and 2 firsts for Brady. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think he's coming to New Jersey either, but it's nice to dream about it. Faye, I respect Marchand and wouldn't mind having him on the Devils because I always said when he was on the Bruins, he's the player you hate to love but would love to have. Yeah. He's like a Claude Lemieux guy for sure. Snow, I don't want to see Tampa or Carolina win a chip this year. Neither do I. Let's go Wild. Let's go Islanders. Let's go Sharks if they could get in. Yeah, you definitely need those guys. Doug, I mean, Tage is almost more of a pipe dream for me personally. I mean, you could imagine him and Jack. I would want Brady and Jack. Brady's still my number 1. Tage would be my number 2. I talked about Tage months ago when the Sabres were in the toilet. Obviously, I don't think there's anything happening there anymore now that Buffalo is just revamped. But Tage was always a guy I liked a lot, and I was so happy for him to obviously be named to the U.S. Olympic team after being snubbed for 4 nations and then to win the gold with the boys. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And that's because Tage has American swagger. American swagger. Let's go. American swagger. Link pinned in the chat on the website. Hoodies and t-shirts. I mean, I don't think there's anything to get looked at. It's just like a knot. It's just got to go down with time, I think. But right in a bad spot on the shin. It's like stubbing your toe badly and you keep hitting it. SJ, I think they will fire Fitz. I really do. It will come out of nowhere. No chance, man. This is Cope. If they were going to fire him, they would have done it already. It should have been done at the late. I mean, in my opinion, he should have been fired a couple of years ago. After he missed the playoffs in 23-24, he should have been fired. But for this season, whiffing on Quinn when it was basically on a silver platter, that should have been a fireable offense. Losing 9-0 to the Islanders, that the next morning should have been a firing, but he's escaped all of these things. And it seems like he has a lifetime job for whatever reason. Gleason, we've had so many NJD pipe dream players over the years. All we got is Timo Meier. Yeah, we've been rumored to like every guy that's been traded in the past few seasons, and we've gotten none of them. Doug says, my top 5 pipe dream players: Tage, Philip Forsberg, Lucas Raymond, Brady, Wyatt Johnston. It's a nice list. Paha, if Fitz feels in the hot seat, he may be open for an earth-shattering move. And I've speculated in the past that my fear is that he has no fear of his job. His seat is not even remotely warm, and he knows it. And because of that, there is no urgency or kind of a push to maybe make one of these moves like you're suggesting. Because if he knows he's safe, then there's nothing to worry about. Status quo, baby. Status quo. Walking around the middle of the night, I wanted to cry. Snow said, I heard 50-50 chance on Fitz. I think, I think it's 50-50 for a while. Now I'm probably more like 70-30 that he stays. But I do think a lot of it is going to have to do with how the ticket sales look down the stretch of the season. If we are playing to an empty rink or a largely empty arena on a lot of nights down the stretch, and it adds up to a substantial loss of revenue for the owners, I think that could tip the scales. But I do think he survives because, like, if you were going to fire him, why would you wait the whole season? It just doesn't make sense. But I could also see the owners doing something stupid like that as well. So it's kind of hard to really get a read on it. Yeah, the Wings aren't trading Raymond. Gleason, I might take Tage over Brady. I'd rather the higher sniping ability with the size over the extra snarl. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one. Those are my top two guys. David Ace, what time do you plan on starting the live stream on deadline day? Probably 9 a.m. I'm thinking. Probably 9. Snow, I do think Robertson gets moved, but his tag is going to be really big. There's going to be a lot of people in on him. And listen, I like him. But to give up a ton of assets for him and then have to pay him a ton of money, I don't know. I feel like there's better usages of assets to trade and cap dollars than him. But don't get me wrong. That would be a huge improvement to this offense. But is it the best move you could make with those assets and with that money? I don't know. Maybe it is. SJ says Fitz is risk adverse, can't win like that. Yeah, you got to be in it to win it. I think without making a ballsy, gutsy move or moves, you're not going anywhere. And you've seen what this Devils team has looked like since that glorious 22-23 season. We've gone nowhere. We have gone nowhere. Justin says, I think Keith and Fitz are gone after this season. That'd be interesting. Jello, it's me. Yeah, the Quinn deal is so strange. Quinn told Vancouver he didn't want to stay a year ago. Jack must have dropped a couple hints, and he just made 0 moves to stock up on tradable assets and cap room. Okay. Jason said, I mean, if he's a free agent, if Dallas goes for it and lets Robo walk. John Fay, the Ranger game is going to be interesting. Both teams have shitty GMs. Both teams are near the bottom of the division, and both teams' fans want the season over with. Yeah, the toilet bowl. But hopefully the Hudson River rivalry, the pride and, the whole rivalry thing will give us some entertaining games. But as we've said for months now, it's completely criminal that the teams did not play till March 7th when we're both just in the basement of the league. Pathetic. Really takes the shine off the games. David S., I was listening to XM Hockey Channel on Monday, and they were talking about the Devils, and they believe Fitz has one more full season until his time is up. Just their opinion, but they're saying, I could totally see it. Totally see it. SJ says no cap space cost us Quinn. I will forever believe that as well, despite all of the kind of spin campaigns and things we've heard after that. I firmly believe that Rutherford called him. He was like, the time is now. Let's get this done. And then Fitz was like, let me call you back in an hour. I got to make this cap space. And he couldn't do it in time. And then Rutherford was like, sorry, bud, I'm opening this up to the other teams. And then Billy G came swooping in and got the prize. Doug, this sucks, Ace. This is the exact time of year my hype for hockey increases tenfold. And here we are bottom feeders, and we started off top 3 end of November. You're preaching to the choir, brother. I'm right there with you. Once that calendar hits March, you're like, oh, baby. We got 5 or 6 weeks of regular season, and then it's the best time of year, the playoffs, and we are going to be on the outside looking in. Pathetic. Snow, me either. I think they'd love McKenna in a big market. Call me crazy. I don't think this kid is going to be anywhere near as good as many people are thinking in the league. And I hope I'm wrong about him, assuming he doesn't go to the Rangers. Like, the kid went up a lot of points in my book when he knocked the guy out who was, like, harassing his mom. And then he knocked the guy out. Total legendary move. His stock went up in my book, but I just feel like people are talking like he's going to be this phenom, and I just don't know that I believe that he is. Gleason says, I will never forgive no playoffs again. I firmly wanted Fitz gone after the 23-24 seasons. Like, we had a franchise record-setting season, won a playoff round, and then you watch us slowly drown with no goaltending. I said I had seen enough at that point and wanted him gone, but Paha, why do people talk Tage? Why would Buffalo trade generational player, especially being in playoffs position? I think everyone knows it's a pipe dream. We're just kind of fantasizing. But when Buffalo was sucking earlier in the season, there were some sort of rumors out there that he could potentially be moved. It was probably based on, nothing more than speculation and BS. But that was kind of out there in the world, and that's kind of where it started here. When Buffalo was struggling like that, people were bringing it up here. Because people talk, everyone, Tage was a realistic idea and Buffalo was horrible. Yeah, when they had a quick 180 turnaround. Doug said then they fired their GM and sent them on a 12-game heater for sure. David S. Ace, do you believe Quinn winning a cup in Minnesota this year increases his chances of signing with the Devils? Because then he'll say, I won a cup and now I want to play with my brothers. I was thinking about this earlier today. It's funny you mentioned that. I don't know. I could see it going either way, but I do think he's going to be in with the Wild for at least a little bit. I think he, at a minimum, will sign a deal. I think it would have to be a 3-year extension where his free agency lines up with Jack. I could totally see that. Richie, Fitz, unfortunately, is likely to stay, and Keefe will be scapegoated after the season, and they look at guys like DeBoer, et cetera. I could totally see that happening, too. Could totally see that happening. Snow said, I think he's going to be good, this kid. Faye, I think he'll be average and in the middle. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm pretty down on smaller guys. He is a slightly smaller guy. And I could be wrong. Every time people hype these guys up, most of the time they don't live up to the hype. Justin says, Minnesota's not winning the cup. They don't have the goaltending. Gleason, Minnesota goalies are better than you think. That's why they're looking to trade one. I could see them making a little run. Doug, I mean, we can only hope and pray he wants to play with Jack and Luke. I'm sure he does. But I also think he wants to win, and I think the Devils have shown themselves to be a kind of dysfunctional franchise over the past few months. I think all of the brothers thought, including Quinn himself, thought that Quinn was going to the Devils, and Fitz found a way to botch it. All Minnie needs is O'Reilly, and they are championship contenders. Justin, Minnesota hasn't won a playoff series in over 6 years. It's not happening. Doug, you would think after the Olympics he'd want to play with his brothers, but he also said that he respects Billy G's balls for making that move. For sure. For sure. And Billy G's the Team USA general manager as well. There's a lot of connections. Face, I think the Wild make it to the second round before getting bounced. Richie says, Bukestad for Zdeno Chara. That's Fitz's move. Gleason, this is a different team, though. They're also operating under the Parisi. They also were operating under those Parisi Suter buyout, and now they're not. Yeah, they had to wait for that to fall off. Jay Snow, Celebrini's only 6 foot, and he's a stud. Again, extreme outlier, right? For every Celebrini, there's a Capo Caco, these other guys that just never panned out. And then there's the guys that, they weren't busts, but they just weren't the level of impact player that people were hoping for. Doug, there's a lot at play, but you got to think that after the $17 million to Kaprizov, he'll send Quinn $20 million to stay. It's possible, and at that point, you're definitely investing a ton of money in a couple guys. But if you can make it work. Justin says Minnesota bounced in the first round. Doug, I'm willing to spend 15% of my entire team cap on you to stay. Faye, I wouldn't mind to have a Zdeno Chara-like player in the Devils. That's just me. I mean, I think a lot of people are hoping that's what Salayev becomes, the big monstrous D-man that patrols the blue line and scares the shit out of people. Snow, that's crazy to pay that much for two guys. I agree. Even Draisaitl and McDavid don't make that much. Yeah, there it is, Doug. You're in luck. Have you heard of Anton Salayev? All right, guys, I'm taking a quick bathroom break. And then we'll start wrapping it up. Throw out thoughts, comments, questions. I'm working on a ton of stuff. I'm still behind in life, still adjusting to life in America post-Olympics trip. The IOC was after me. I got to re-edit some of the vlogs. I still have maybe 3 or 4 vlogs to put out for those that were following that series. I have a couple other Olympics-related wrap-up videos to do. I'm going to do something about the trade deadline. Got a lot of stuff coming up. But man, USA Gold, American swagger, whatever it takes. Billy Guerin told him whatever it takes. Billy G is such a legend. All right, guys, I'm running to the bathroom real quick. Thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever you got, hit your boy in the chat. American swagger apparel link in the chat on the website. I think it's also in the YouTube store now. But be back in 2 minutes. We'll start wrapping this up. Hit me with what you got in the chat there. Be right back. David thinks Minnie's going to the Western Conference Finals. SJ, Billy G saw the opportunity and jumped at it. Great GMing. Yeah, big balls, Billy. Saw an opportunity, he's going for it. You got to be in it to win it, and no pain, no gain. You don't make some – now, some will say it was too big of a gamble, but if you don't take some chances, you're not going anywhere in this league. And we always talk about how Lou Lamoriello was not skittish about making the big deals and trading away some pieces that hurt to improve the team, and he did it regularly. Richie said, I think Quinn was very sincere about how he feels about Bill Guerin. I could see him signing a 3-year for 42 to 45 million and then see where the Devils are at. I could totally see that too. Like, let me see where we could get with Minnie, and then we'll reassess. Paha says Billy G is the ultimate win now GM. Oh, I already read that. Best case for us is for Fitz to do nothing, get fired, then get a GM who could steer the ship away from the iceberg and actually listen to the warning before it's too late. Completely agree, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. The team's so bad, no marathon stream. No more marathon stream. I mean, what is there to talk about, really? I mean, it sucks. I mean, this is still 2 hours. You cut me some slack here, Snow. It's not like I'm doing 35 minutes and then running the hell out of here. I mean, we're going on 2 hours here. Put some ice on that shin. Richie, that was an amazing thing about Chara. He got better at 35 plus, and his IQ was tremendous as he got older. Big Chara was a beast. David says first deal on Friday Fitzy gets done at 10:48. The second one at 2:48. Doug, they'll give him the summer to work his magic in quotes. See the sorrow leak into next season and fire him 2-3 months into the season like Buffalo. Snow, if the Devils fire Keefe, but Keefe fits, it'd be like shitting your pants and changing your shirt. I think that's a fairly likely scenario. I think Keefe deserves a little bit longer rope, but I understand that people that want to see a change, but I think it's more roster related than Keefe. I will never be pushed off of that. Gleason, Chara was a mediocre Islander, funny career arc. Well, I mean, he was also young there. Gleason, hilarious. Fitz hasn't made a decision yet until all the way to the deadline. Snow, I'm saying when the team's good, it's just a different vibe. Now it's all about dream trades. Yeah, I mean, obviously it is a different vibe. And like I said earlier, we're losing people by the game. The people are trailing off. People have checked out for the season. When it was a season, the numbers were a lot bigger. And again, I don't care about this stuff. It's just something I notice that, when the team's doing good, there's more interest. And when the team does bad, there's less interest. Just like what you see reflected in the stands with ticket sales at the games. That's pretty much the same thing with people participating in lives and watching videos or reading articles or whatever it is about the team. When they suck, interest by the masses is down. Snow, you can only talk about the same stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Gleason. My God, I'm still doing 2 hours out here. Shit. Fitz might look at the standings on Friday and be like, oh, man, we're in trouble here. Let me sell some of these guys. Watch Fitz make moves after the deadline. Richie Ace broke down for the wife and hit Asbrook Heights White Castle after he won the gold. That's an excellent gold medal celebration feast. I love White Castle. I haven't had a White Castle feast in a while. I'm trying to be healthier, and I'm struggling a little bit in the States, transitioning back to my healthy eating ways. But I think starting, tomorrow, it's got to happen. I obviously went completely off the rails in Italy, and have been slightly off the rails since I've returned in my depression state. I'm curious to know what people say about the arena. Yeah, 100, close enough, Snow. I'm 10 minutes shy of 2 hours. David, any chance we trade Siegs and Covey, keep Dougie, sign Nemo, and then call Casey up next year for our D? Yeah, I said this a while ago. I could see a world where Dougie's brought back if we are able to trade two of the three. With Siegs and Covey, I also include Dylan in that group. So if you trade two of the three of Dylan, Siegs, Kovacevic, you're freeing up between $7 and $8 million total, which is almost the same as Dougie's 9. And so if you trade two of those three guys, could you fill those holes with a guy like Edwards or a Casey or one of those guys and maybe a veteran defenseman that you could pick up cheap in a trade or free agency? I definitely think it's possible. It's all very interesting. Like I said, because of where we are at this point of the season, I do think this is one of the more interesting trade deadlines in terms of trying to predict what they'll do. I don't think we're going to see anything exciting in terms of acquisitions, but I do think there's a lot of kind of question marks about guys that could potentially be sold off. And so I think it's a pretty hard deadline to anticipate what the Devils are going to do, just because there's so many different things that could happen. Faye said there was a decent crowd. It got loud when the Jack boarding happened. Doug, I've been here since you really dove into this channel in the 2024 offseason when it was heavier, edgier, more violent. And I feel like I owe it to you as another diehard fan that's younger to keep up and support the channel. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, talking about this team after games like this is it's kind of a struggle. I enjoy talking to all you guys. I enjoy shooting the shit and talking about fantasy trades and whatever else comes up in the chat. But, it's a long way to October, and it really sucks. It really, really sucks. Snow says, anyone going to these Devils-Rangers games? Certainly not I. Doug, not going to another Devils game until either Fitz is fired or Dougie is off my team. I mean, listen, I'm all about Fitz getting canned. Doug, drawing a line in the sand about Dougie being off the team, I think is a little bit harsh, but I get it. I think I'm done, Snow. There's a chance my brother will want to bring the kids to a game, and so they've been asking for a while. So if that happens, I'll go with my nephews. But outside of that, I don't have any plans to go to any more games this year. Richie, stop listening against his onions and the tech problems. He does a hell of a job. Thanks, Richie. It wasn't tech problems. I freaking had a power outage. All the power went out of my house. Paha, that video is going to come out soon. Spoiler alert, as I predicted, I did gain weight despite the many steps, but we're going to circle back on that contest and name the winners. That'll be in the next few days. I'm behind on these vlogs because the IOC screwed me, but I have several more vlogs to put out, and the last one will be will include the steps count and the weight gain and all that stuff I'll go over. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate that. Snow is a funny guy. Listen, I'm a big Ace fan, even though he likes women's alcoholic drinks and walks into walls. Oh, man, Snow. You're in such trouble, man. Don't think I'm going to forget, Snow. I'm going to find the 151, and we're going to have great videos of you just going, getting put out. No, if my nephews want to go, I have to go. They've been beasting about it. It sucks that they're not competitive. And they're like, what do you mean we're not making the playoffs? I'm like, we suck, guys. What do you want from me? But they've been asking about it a lot recently. And especially after they were super into the USA games because they knew I was there and it was USA and I was talking about it for so long. So when the Olympics came around, that kind of fired them up a little bit even more. And then for Jack to score the goal, I mean, you know, my one nephew has 2 different Jack Hughes jerseys. All the kids know Jack Hughes, and to see him score the golden goal just kind of cemented his legend with the youths. I mean, wait, what did you call? I called it. What did you call? I don't know what that's in reference to. Doug, it's definitely petty. The last game I went to was the Buffalo game, and Hamilton pissed me off that game. I get it. Richie, got to spend quality time with the nephews, go to the game and spoil them. Yeah, that's the plan. I just got to figure it out with my brother. Snow, at least you'll be able to get really good seats for cheap. It's good for the kids, even though they're not good. No, I know. Even though they suck, for little kids, the experience doesn't change much, right? So, you know, they've been trying to get to a game for a while, and it's annoying to have to coordinate it with my brother, but I'm going to see if we could get them to a game sometime soon because they do enjoy it, especially with all the junk food and the sugar and all that. I mean, sensory overload for kids. Music, lights, horns, chicken tenders. All the kids like the chicken tenders and fries. And then you got all the other junk food. David, was your power outage from sleet or freezing rain? I honestly have no idea. It was sleeting and freezing rain earlier. I have no idea what it's doing out there right now, but that power outage was annoying. You're in Dutchess County, and that's what we had here. We had it throughout the day. Faye, I said you would probably come back from Italy saying you probably gained weight and ate too much, but also said you would say it's worth it. Well, you're completely right across the board. I'm not going to say I ate too much because I knew exactly what I was going to do. I went there on a mission, and I pretty much carried it out to a T. And I walked a ton, way more than anyone guessed. I got to circle back on that post and see who the contest winners were for the weight gain and the steps. But I walked a ton, but I just ate so incredibly much that despite all the crazy steps I did, I still gained weight. Hamilton's been one of our best players, says Snow. Yeah, I like Dougie. Doug, I always love seeing kids enjoying the games. Even when the team loses, it always makes the crowd's vibe so much better. Yeah, ignorance is bliss. Kids are like, we're at the Devils game. We're having a great time. We're eating all the snacks. We're eating the arena food. Face it, Dougie can be a liability sometimes, but he could also prove himself when needed. Now, I like Dougie, and I do think, to Doug's point, we would be fine without him too. But, you know, that's another one to keep an eye on. Does he survive the deadline, or is he sent elsewhere? Find out on Friday. Deadline day. It's deadline day. All right, guys, that's it. I'm tired. I got stuff to do. Appreciate you all for coming out. Look how close we are to 2 hours. Snow. I might as well stay for the official 2 hours so Snow doesn't chirp me. We have no other offense from the back end. We have Nemo and Luke. I like both of them. I still don't think they're Dougie, but hopefully they get there. They're both young. That's the thing. They're both super young. They will improve. They will get better. How long does that take, and what does that look like exactly? I don't know. As many of you know, defensemen take a little bit longer to develop. Could it be a year, 2 years? I don't know, but I do like Dougie, and I do think we'll miss him, as I've said, from this past summer. We will miss Dougie when he's gone. Faye, Dougie can be a liability, but he also can prove himself when needed. They're not producing Luke and Nemo. Doug says, look at Nemo's progression since the OT goal last playoffs. He was on a tear before he had that injury. He had that injury. What was that? I think it was around the same time. Wasn't when Timo took the leave of absence or around there? And he hasn't quite looked the same since he came back. He really was on a tear. Snow, I think you have to move Dougie. We need the money, but I'm worried about Luke stepping into that role. But again, like I said, you're obsessing over the money, but what would you say if they traded 2 of the other 3? You know, Dilly, Kovacevic, Siegs. If 2 of those 3 guys go, that's almost freeing up the same amount of money. Doug, leaps and bounds, all based off confidence and growth. Doug says Luke's already increased his role on the left side. It's Nemo who would take over Dougie's role. Jay Snow, I like Nemo, but his defensive game is still really far behind, and he hasn't put up offense in a while. Like the entire team, though. Damage Inc. 1986. Devils account executives are asking for money for the 26-27 season already. I mean, are you surprised? I laughed at her. This is the first time in 30 years I didn't re-up immediately. Good for you. Give him a little pushback. Give him a little pushback. All right, that's it, guys. I'm done. Signing out. But American Swagger, folks. American Swagger. The last plug. Whatever it takes. Look at that graphic. Whatever it takes. The message from Billy G. Link in the chat. Link in the description. Go get your American Swagger sweatshirt or hoodies and or T-shirts. And that's it. I'm never going to stop talking about the gold medal. I mean, what an incredible moment for USA history. And one of the only things to soften the blow on the season for the Devils. Brutal stuff. Brutal, brutal stuff. World Cup in June. Go USA. Are you talking about football? I'm excited for the World Cup of hockey in 2028. That'll be the next international best-on-best tournament before the USA goes to defend their gold medal in France in 2030, and I'm hoping to get there as well. All right, that's it, guys. I'm done. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. Check out the other videos if you're interested in that. I have the vlog, all that stuff. That's it. American Swagger. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.